Registration for classes at American University began on Friday. Students are organizing their classes to try and make the perfect schedule, but some night owls might have trouble with AU's 7:30 a.m. classes. Sarah Parnas has more on the story. Sarah?
Thanks, Zach. You know, picking out classes is hard enough as it is, but with these earlier options, it seems to me like students are going to have to be choosing between the classes they really want and that extra hour of sleep. But, you know, there are some plus sides to getting some earlier classes, and I spoke with some people who will tell us what those are. Registration for spring classes at American University started at midnight, and some students are finding they'll have to get up very early for classes next semester. This is the second semester AU has offered classes as early as 7:30 in the morning. Janelle Clothier at AU Central says this is about giving students more options.
I think one of the reasons was to find more classroom space that was available. So opening up that extra block gave another opportunity for additional courses to be offered. The other thing is we have a number of students that are graduate students or students that are doing internships, and the appeal of being able to come to campus earlier gave students more opportunities.
But for professors, keeping students engaged in the morning can be tough.
They have a tendency to not want to talk right away in the morning. Students will cope by bringing in coffee mugs in the morning. I will sometimes bring in a little breakfast, some fresh fruit, something to get them going.
Nadia Batson has her own routine before those early morning classes.
I have 2-3 cups of coffee in the morning at home, and then when I get to school, probably every break that I have, we go downstairs and get a cup of coffee.
But even Nadia said she would prefer a class in the morning to one in the evening.
Well, it kind of sucks because we have to wake up really early to come in time and to get here, but it really helps people to organize their day and to get more things done.
Right now, the only classes being offered at 7:30 are yoga and a theater class, but there could be more to come. And, you know, as Professor Minky Fish later pointed out, that could be a good thing for seniors like me who are going to have to get up pretty early to go to work in the real world soon. Back to you guys.
The Center for Disease Control and Prevention is recommending an HPV vaccine for young men. The advisory committee says the CDC says young boys ages 11 and 12 get vaccinations. Vaccinations can be given to boys as young as 9 and to men between the ages of 22 and 26. The CDC says that the HPV vaccine can protect young men against anal and throat cancers that can result from sexual activity. The vaccine is most effective before patients become sexually active, which is why doctors recommend that women and now young men receive the vaccine at an early age.
Doctors are calling for HIV testing for young people who are sexually active. A statement released today from the American Academy of Pediatrics says HIV screenings is more important than ever. But how will the media handle the issue? Nikki DeMarco has more.
It's a problem that's been here since the 1980s. HIV testing, and who should be getting tested. The American Academy of Pediatrics has broadened its stance on the issue today and says all sexually active youth should be screened for HIV.
I mean, if there is an increase of young adults getting HIV and AIDS, then they should be getting tested because, to be honest, I don't think they would go and get tested themselves.
Declan Fahy, a professor in the School of Communication at AU, says the discussion surrounding HIV testing will be determined both by the media and by doctors.
What you really want to do is to carefully decide who you're communicating with, which groups in particular you want to reach. Are you communicating with particular at-risk groups? Are you communicating with parents, with the teenagers themselves, with teachers, with potentially high-risk groups of teenagers? And so the first thing to do is to decide which of those groups you want to communicate with.
According to the University of Chicago, 48% of youth who are infected with HIV don't actually know that they are infected. And today, many doctors will only offer testing to patients who fall into certain risk groups.
There needs to be more of a dialogue between the medical organisations and the teenagers who want to get tested. And then they need to clearly lay out why you should be tested, the reasons for it, what's in it for them, why it's a good thing for them to do it, and why it kind of meets their values.
The American Academy of Pediatrics says that 1.1 million Americans are currently infected with HIV, and 55,000 of those are between the ages of 13 and 24. For District Wire News, I'm Nikki DeMarco.
Trick-or-treaters are getting their costumes and candy ready for tonight's festivities. But where did the traditions come from? We'll tell you about the origins of Halloween.
And for district sports, the Redskins had a tough loss against the Buffalo Bills over the weekend. We'll bring you the details of the game and more sports news after the break.